All right. So one of the things that I was learning about was that in the realm of positive psychology, that there's a big difference between toxic positivity and positive psychology, where we can be kind of too Pollyanna-ish, where we don't acknowledge the challenges, and that can be toxic when people are not allowing themselves to really feel the challenge that they're experiencing, but only lean toward, well, you have to always look on the bright side. So, when we think of things more positively, we have to have an acknowledgement of whatever the challenge is, whether it's an emotional state that's challenging or a difficult task that is happening or something outside of ourselves that we have to adapt to. When we have an acknowledgement of whatever that is instead of just denying it, there's a lot of good that comes from that. We feel settled in our nervous system. We feel validated, but then to lean toward gratitude or trying to see the positive side of whatever the experience is also, an important piece of that puzzle. So the parenting trick I learned, which I wish I knew, 25 years ago, was it's a game called Unfortunately, Fortunately. So when something challenging happens, a very simple example is like being stuck in traffic when you're racing to get somewhere and suddenly you have no control and you're just going to be late. So the parent would say, unfortunately, we're stuck in this traffic jam and there's nothing we can do about it and we're going to be late. And the child, whenever they hear the word unfortunately, they have to respond with fortunately. So then the child would say something like, fortunately, that means we get to spend more time together in the car for a few minutes. So it encourages, it acknowledges the challenge, and then it encourages to think and look for the positivity that's available in that moment. So it's a game you can play with yourself, and it's a game you can play with your partner or with your friend or with your child or whoever you have in company with you to, acknowledge the thing. Unfortunately, this thing is happening, but then fortunately, we can see the bright side on some level. So it seemed very fun. And I just passed along because maybe there's a person in your life you'd like to try this little positivity game with. All right, so as you sit up straight and tall and close your eyes, let's remember how much gratitude and trying to see the bright side, whether it's finding the joy or finding the beauty or finding the love or finding the connection or finding the gratitude, whatever the positive emotional state that you can search for, there's usually something there. Even in the most dismal moments, there's usually something there that we can hold gratitude for. So as you sit and find comfort in your body, let's begin with just a little bit of a gratitude practice here, where turn inward toward yourself and first just kind of sense, how's your body today? How's your mind today? How's your energy level today? Just kind of check in with yourself and take stock of how you're doing. How has your self-talk been since you got out of bed this morning? Is it positive, or is it, are you kind of complaining inside your mind, or do you have a negative view on something? So just kind of pay attention. Maybe you woke up on the right side, the good side of the bed, and you feel energized and happy. So no matter what is happening, see if you can observe without judgment, without any expectations of anything to change, but to just acknowledge how you are. And then tune into the breath. Maybe that's the very first thing that we can look toward as a fortunate thing, right? As something to be so grateful for. So as your next breath arrives, see if you can just savor the beauty of your breath, the ease of your breath, the fullness of your breath, the life-giving nature of your breath. And then think about maybe playing this game in your own mind for a moment. So if you begin with the word unfortunately, what might follow? What's happening in your mind or in your life or in your body that, has a challenge to it? Maybe it's something that you have zero control over. Maybe it's something you do have a little control over. Whatever it is, see if you can follow your unfortunately statement with a fortunate statement in your mind. See if you can train your mind to look toward the silver linings, to look toward the open windows, the way the light shines through the cracks. And then see if you can just start moving into a gratitude practice very simply. You could start with your physical body, being grateful for your health and your mobility. Maybe it's something very specific in your body that you're very thankful for in this moment. Usually, all it requires is something going a little amiss in your body for you suddenly to remember how grateful you are for that, whatever that thing is, finding resolution or healing. And then move outside of your body and maybe move into the emotional state, which of course lives in the body too, or the mind, and see if you can just touch into something that you're so very grateful for. Maybe it's a feeling of connection or a feeling of well-being. Maybe it's the way your mind is able to problem solve and think clearly. Whatever is arising in your mind, let's see if we can just hold a deep sense of gratitude. And then move outward away from your physical, mental, emotional self into your life experiences. It could be essential things that you have. It could be beautiful relationships that you have. It could be safety. It could be the beauty of your environment. It could be the you get to go to work today and earn a living. It could be that you're retired and you don't have to go to work and you get to enjoy the day in a different way. So just anything at all that's arriving to you. And as one thing comes, just let the waves kind of fall onto you, cascade and break upon you in this beautiful feeling of gratitude. And train your mind to look toward the silver linings, to look toward the beauty, to look toward the connections. And you can allow this unfortunately, fortunately game to just kind of live in your mind, that when you catch yourself ruminating on something hard or challenging, or if you have having a little pity party for yourself in some way, that's very good to acknowledge that things are hard. But see if you can train your mind to also, along with that acknowledgement, kind of find something to hold on to that you're grateful for. Sometimes this requires a fair amount of policing of the mind, where we have to pay attention to where our thoughts are going and gently, gently lead them where we want them to go. And then let's tune back into the breath. Feeling sense of fullness and ease of your breathing. Let your spine climb just a teeny bit more spaciously higher. Open up the heart. Maybe turn the corners of your mouth upward. Just find that inner smile of the heart and the mouth. And bring the hands together at your heart and bow in. Offering an intention. Maybe it's about kind of marinating in some gratitude. Maybe there's something very specific that you're working with. And then we'll release our hands. Okay, so let's find our way onto our back and notice what it feels like to stretch your body out and just enjoy. And especially if you're working with a challenge in your body, which, who isn't working with a challenge in their body, as you kind of touch into the places that might be bothering you, or you're feeling like, oh, I used to be able to do this and I can't do that, or whatever kind of roadblocks you come across. Let's see when you meet them, when you touch something that's challenging or painful or restricted, that you can just play this little internal game with yourself in that moment. Okay. So even if you have an unfortunate something happening, there's probably something fortunate happening as well. All right, let's stretch your arms overhead and feel some reaching. Reach the right side, reach the left side, and see if you can open up and reach through your sides. Full breaths here. All right, and then relax and bring your knees into your chest and find a little bit of rocking. Okay. A little swing from side to side. Notice any posture we get into. Notice the bliss. Wherever the bliss is arriving in your body, it could be a small little thing, a little release, a little ease, a little freedom, a little sensation, whatever little tiny bliss arrives with each pose. Search for it, find it, and savor. Have some gratitude. All right, right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground, and let's move around in our feet. Roll your ankles, wiggle your toes. Keep your head and shoulders nice and relaxed. Find your breath again. Hug that right knee in snugly, and then we'll cross the right knee over to the left and stretch open to a twist. A big breath here. Melt your head down toward the ground. Find the full inhale, the full exhale. And then we'll draw that knee into the chest. Pick up your head and take a little snug hug here. And then release that leg and head down. Switch sides. Left knee into your chest. Right leg long on the ground. Move around in your feet. And if this were the only pose that you were doing in your yoga practice today, is there some way that it could make you feel complete, that your whole body would experience some little bit of body joy with just this pose? Find your breath. And then cross the left knee over to the right and stretch open into the twist, and then scan your body for the little bits of joy that happen in a pose like this. If there's an unfortunately happening, find the fortunately. And then come back to center. Bring that knee in, give yourself a little hug, pick up your head. And then put your head down, feet on the ground, arms out to the side, and let's just gently windshield wiper your knees left and right. And see if you can turn your head in opposition of your knees. There's just this nice, gentle movement of your hips and your spine. And then pause with your feet on the ground and feel the bottom of your feet. Is there a nice feeling of touching the mat, of just noticing that grounding of your feet? Feel the grounding of your pelvis. Feel the grounding of your head. Find your breath. All right, let's stretch big out to a star on the ground. Let's roll your wrists now and your ankles, wiggle your fingers and your toes, and enjoy. And a deep breath in, and as you exhale, knees into your chest, round your spine, pick up your head. And let's repeat. Expand open on the in breath, and then exhale and draw in on the out breath. Relax your head down, grab your feet, and let's just open up our low back into a happy baby pose. Maybe your body wants to rock a little bit left and right. Just ease through your spine. A nice compression downward with your hands into your feet. Open up your back. All right, and then cross your right foot over to your left knee and reverse your pigeon. You could do some mobilization here if you want, with some hip circles with your, circling through your hip, or rocking or pulsing, kind of whatever movement feels good to open up that hip. All right, and then we'll lift your legs straight up in the air, arms overhead, root your ribs down, find that stability. And let's flex and point your feet while you're here. Lots of engagement in your core. Try not to take the tension in your neck, but keep the stabilization happening through your torso and your core. Slowly lower your legs down to the ground so that you're just keeping that core stability alive as you go. And then stretch open to a star, knees into your chest, round the spine, and we'll put our right foot down and put your left foot on your right knee. And then do any variation of a reverse pigeon that's good for your body. Maybe some movement is here, maybe some stillness is here. There's no right or wrong way. See if you can notice what your back is doing. Is there any twisting in your low back, or rotation of your pelvis? See if you can stay neutral. And then one more time, release that. Arms up overhead, feet to the sky. Let's flex and point, and maybe some pointing. Just kind of find that stability through the core of the body. And we'll open our legs out to the sides. Find your breath. Bring your arms through your legs. Engage your core a little bit here. Reach. And then relax your head and shoulders down, legs back up straight, arms overhead, lower your legs down to the ground. You can always have your arms down at your sides instead. Expand open to a star. Exhale, knees into your chest, and we'll roll over to your side. Come up to your hands and your knees. As you find all fours, notice, are you starting to become a little more embodied than you were when we began? Is this a joyful thing to be thankful for, or just the presence of mind and body? And let's start to weave the breath into our movements. So we're arching and rounding our spine, catting and cowing, and finding that the breath is the originator of our movements. We are living inside our breathing. And then wag your tail a little bit. Move side to side, like swimming like a fish, or wagging your tail like a dog. And then let's take some rib cage rolls here. So start in neutral and we'll come over to a side and down and over to the other side and up. So we're just kind of rolling our rib cage in a big circle, kind of mobilizing. Let your pelvis move if it wants to. Let your spine do its thing. And just kind of mobilizing through our ribs, through our spine. All right, and then we'll go the other way. Rib cage rolls. You might find that your head and your tail want to do some circling too. And just let your body move. Try not to control, but just let the breath and the movement happen. All right. And then stretch back toward a child's pose and lengthen through your shoulders. Just enjoy how nice it is to get your spine warmed up. Relax your skull toward the ground. Maybe you're rocking a little bit left and right. Maybe you're very still. And then we'll walk our hands over to one side so that we're stretching through our side body here and open up the ribs. Are you remembering to notice the gratitude in your body, in your breath? When you touch a new pose and you feel a new sensation, can you be so thankful for that sensation? Walk the hands over to the other side and stretch open through your ribs. And then come back to the center. Back up on tall fours. Let's take our warm-up twist, reaching that arm in the sky. If you want to move your wrist around, go for it. And then drop the shoulder down for a twist. And again, always, especially in the beginning of your practice, any movement you want to create within poses that feel safe and good to you, try not to always feel like you have to just be static in your body. The breath moves you, maybe a little bit of rocking happens. Just notice how your body wants to warm itself up into mobility. And then reach that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground, and we'll find our way to the other side. Arm up, maybe your wrist moves around a little bit. Drop that shoulder through. Breathing deeply. Notice how the breath moves in and notice how the breath moves out. All right, then we'll reach that arm back up in the air, hand coming high to the sky, and then hand coming down to the ground. Stretch up into a dog pose when you feel ready. Take a little time to get to know your feet now. Pedaling, maybe dropping one heel down, bending an opposite knee. Just kind of find your legs. Open things up. Move about in your dog pose in any way that serves. Relax your jaw. Soften all the skin on your face. Let the skin kind of fall off the bones a little bit. Easefulness in your skull and head. Drop into your hands, drop into your feet, and then push. Feel all that reaching. Maybe your sit bones lift, lift, lift as your heels descend. Maybe the hands push down so the ribs can lengthen and you find a space in between your ribs and your pelvis. And then walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana, forward fold. Relax here, bend your knees, soften your head. Inhale for a halfway lift. Open up through the spine. And then exhale and melt. Fold again. One more time. A halfway lift. Sit bones high. Engage your quads. Feel all that length and space. And then exhale. Release back down. Push through your feet. Rising up. Bring your arms upward to the sky when you're ready. Open up the heart. Let's just pause here for a moment and feel the shape of your body helping your mind and your emotions to find that sense of gratitude. So as we lift our arms and lift our heart, give your energy upward and outward. Can you hold some gratitude? Okay. Let's cactus open the chest, squeeze the back of your body a little bit, get to know what's back there, and then exhale and round in. Take your hands to a fist, spread your shoulder blades apart, and then release your hands, reaching them down toward the ground. We're still spreading our shoulder blades, bend your knees, and then turn this into grabbing your elbows and let your ribs lengthen. Feel the traction of that weight of your arms helping your spine and ribs open up. Inhale for a halfway lift, opening up through the body again. Exhale, melting down. Step back to a dog. Feel all the openness in your body that you can. Big breaths. All right, we'll come forward into a plank, holding steadiness here. Shoulders away from the ears, integrate into the core of your body. And let's turn our navel to the right, facing the ground with your chest and eyes. Back to center, turning to the left. Keep that chest and eyes facing down. Release your hips back to neutral, knees onto the ground, and find the earth. Let's roll the shoulders and loosen them up here a little bit. Stretch into your legs and engage your glutes. Not so much that you're just, on lockdown mode, but we want to be active in that part of our body. Reach the elbows back toward the feet and then open up into a cobra pose. Exhale, releasing back down. Keeping your glutes engaged, the legs engaged. Press down with your legs, rise up. Cobra, elbows reaching back. Exhale, coming back down. Okay. Come back up onto all fours. Move around in your spine. Wag your tail. And then drop your hips all the way over as far as they go to one side. Remember, we're finding something joyful in every posture, even if it's not your favorite posture. Find the fortunate. Okay, over to the other side. And then back up to neutral. You can always take fists onto the ground if your hands are bothersome. Let's take our left foot straight back. Curl your toes under, open your calf. Cross that leg over to the right, facing the ground with your chest and your eyes, and then just turn to look at your foot, that left foot that's on the right side of your mat. And then come back to center, put that knee down onto the ground, stretch your right foot back, toes curled under, and then cross the leg over to the left, turn and look at that left foot. Open up through your breath, through your ribs, through your side, and then come back to center. Find a puppy pose, so drop your chest down, hips stay high. Open up through that thoracic spine. Notice the side bodies, the armpit chest. Breathe into all these places. And then walk your hands back a little bit. Grab your two blocks and stick them in front of you so that you have a block for each elbow. Put your elbows on the blocks shoulder width apart. You can always take them a little wider than shoulder width if that's what your body needs. Drop back towards child's pose. You can always curl your toes under to give a little lift for your hips. And then drop your thumbs toward your spine, opening your triceps up. Try not to collapse toward the ground with your armpits, but lift up and stretch toward your hips. Drop your thumbs toward your spine, elbows to hips, finding length. Notice where the breath goes. And relax that. Bring your hands back down onto the ground. Find all fours, and now we'll take our left leg straight up in the air. Engage your glutes a little bit, so see if you can fire on all cylinders with that hamstring and glutes. Find your core, and then we'll take our right arm out in front of us, bird dog. A deep breath in, lengthen. Find that core stability as you exhale, elbow and knee come underneath. Inhale, bring it long. Exhale, bring it under. Notice if there's any missing links here. Does your core give up? Does your glutes give up? Does your shin pressing into the ground lose its strength? You know, where do you tend to miss a link? One more time. And then we'll place that knee down onto the ground. Come back onto your heels. Give your hands a little bit of a shake. Inhale, rising up onto your shins. Open up. And then exhale, hands back down in front of you. Now we'll take our right leg straight back behind you. Before you lift your hand up, just find your legs here. Press your left shin into the ground. Pulse through your right leg in the air so that your hamstring and your glute are turned on. Try not to turn your leg outward, so we're neutral, toes pointing toward the ground. Bring your left arm out in front of you, thumb up. Find the integration of your body. Press the hand and shin, engage the back body, glutes, engage the core. And then we'll find your breathing. Inhale to reach, exhale, dropping under. See if you can minimize your wobbles. Try to be smooth in your movements. As you exhale, we bring our elbow and knee underneath. And as you inhale, you straighten it out long. One more time. And then place that hand down, knee down, back to a child's pose. Give your wrists a little bit of movement. Spread out through your hands, curl the toes under, and lift to a dog. Opening up through your body. Feel the glutes and the hamstrings stretch and broaden. And then we'll walk our feet forward. Come to Uttanasana. Inhale, a halfway. Exhale to mount. Push through your feet, rising up. Trace down through the center of the body. Pause for a moment. Close your eyes, notice yourself. Is there anything that you can offer in gratitude here? Even if you've got some aches and pains or some restrictions or challenge, where's the fortunate in the body? And deep breath in, lift the arms, let's cactus, open the chest again, reach that heart. The lifted heart is the symbol of finding optimism. And then release your hands down. Let's step our left foot back and come right into a crescent lunge. Arms upward to the sky and keep that lifted heart. Maybe a teeny bit of a head looking up to see where your balance allows. Finding your breath. And let's expand our hands outward a little bit. Turn your palms up toward the sky and invite. Invite in everything that you want to invite in. And then release the hands down onto the ground. Bend into a deep lunge. And we'll go back and forth, bending and straightening, opening up those hamstrings, and then bending again to open the hip flexors. Enjoy the movement. Enjoy the breath. Enjoy how the body feels. Place your back knee down onto the ground, pad underneath it if you need to. Make sure you're lunging so your pelvis is not over your back knee but forward. Reach that left arm up in the air, find that extension, and let's turn this into a twist. Forearm or hand or elbow on your knee and expand open through your chest. Stabilizing with your legs. Try not to collapse the chest inward, but smile the heart again. And then come back, press your feet into the ground, both arms up, look up, welcome something here, press into the legs, and then hands down. Come to the inside edge of that right foot. Bring your right foot out to the side a little bit more. Feel free to rock a little bit in that foot, or in your knee. And your back knee can come up if you'd like, or keep it down onto the ground. All right, and then relax that and come back to a child's pose. Soften through your hips, relax them. A breath in, a breath out. Bring your left foot forward, come to a lunge on this side. And we're going to go backwards through all of that. Just see which sequence you prefer. So hands on the inside edge of your left knee. Your back knee can be down or up, your choice. And just open up a little bit, butterflying the knee. Find your breath. All right, and then ground your legs, neutralize your stance, keep the knee down if it's comfy. Reach that right arm up in the air, feeling that extension in the body. And then we'll cross the right forearm, elbow, or hand onto the left knee. Left hand can be on your thigh to press down to lift through your chest, or maybe your hands are together. Open up into the twist. Feel your legs support you. So we're finding the midline, magnetizing our inner thighs toward the center. Press into your whole front foot. Maybe drag your foot and your knee toward each other to give that upward lift of the spine so the heart can stay open. How's your breath? And then we'll come back to the center. Bring your hands onto some blocks. Lift your knee up off the ground. Adjust your legs so you're in your lunge. And then we'll go ahead and bend and straighten here, finding that mobility. Go as slow or as fast as you want. See if, maybe holding the pose, holding a stretch feels better. Maybe mobilizing feels better. Whatever you're doing, you're breathing your way into these poses. And then push through your feet, rising up, crescent lunge. Maybe start with your arms up overhead and look up and just see what your balance can support. Make sure the back of your neck is easeful. And then maybe widen your arms a little bit. And again, invite in. What are you looking for to invite in? How's the breath? Smile the heart, smile the lips. All right, release the hands down onto the ground, back to a dog. Feel that full extension in the body again. Open up the hamstrings. We'll come forward into a plank. Push the ground away again. Navel to the right. Find that twist in the body. Back to center. Navel to the left. Back to center. Finding the ground. Your choice, knees first or not. Arms overhead. Thumbs toward the sky. Palms facing each other. Arms can be shoulder width or wider. Same with your legs. Legs hip width or wider. Inhale and lift everything up. Breathe deeply. Keep your neck long. Find that full back body. All right, and then release. and put your head on your hands, pick up your feet, and windshield wiper your knees left and right. Put your feet down on the ground again. Bring your arms out like a cactus this time. We're going to lift just your upper body up and then draw your elbows back toward your hips a little bit and then forward and then release them down. And we're going to repeat that. Take a deep breath in, lift up, cactus arms, and then hug your elbows toward your hips, shoulder blades down, and then reach your arms overhead, and then lower your body. Put your head on your hands, pick up your feet, and windshield wiper your knees. Come back up, find all fours, move around in your spine. Maybe some rolls in your ribs again, maybe some cat cows, maybe some tail wags. And then we'll lift to a dog, feeling that extension in your body again. Right leg lifting up in the air, stack open the right hip. Maybe your leg is straight, maybe your leg is bent. And then we'll put that foot down onto the ground and switch sides. Left leg up, stack open, open through the pelvis and breathe deeply. And then come back to neutral. Walk your feet forward. Come on up to stand and turn sideways on your mat. Wide legs. Drop into that deep squat. Elbows inside your knees. Root into the four corners of your feet. Maybe you like to rock a little bit. And then inhale and come all the way back up. Turn your right foot out and find Parsva Konasana, elbow on your knee, and just enjoy the stretch through your hip, your ribs, your shoulder. Just open up through that side of your body. Also feeling the grounding of your legs, this deep nourishment of support. Bring your breath. What are you grateful for in this posture? Can you still smile the heart? And come all the way back up. Turn your feet and we'll go the other way. So left toes turn out, bending into that knee, elbow on your knee and stretch open. So a lot of times, we kind of focus a lot on that front leg, and of course, put your leg where you need it to be for stability, but sense into the fullness of your backside, the back heel rooting down, the stretch through the hip, through the ribs, through the shoulder. Open up through that full side body and breathe. Come back up, turn your feet wide. Come down, maybe onto blocks. Maybe you come a little lower, and you can take your time getting there. If you feel like the hip gets a little stuck, wiggle around a little bit, take some time to find the pose. Nice wide legs. Release your head no matter what depth you go into. See if you can stay stable where we're engaging the quads, opening up the hamstrings, sit bones lifting high. The feet are broad and grounded. All right, turn back to the front of your mat. And dog pose. Feeling that extension Again, feeling the ease as your legs come back to neutral territory. Forward into a plank. And we'll put our knees down onto the ground. Okay. Finding all fours, we're going to spin our right shin to be perpendicular to our mat. And then take your left leg straight and we'll come into Vasisthasana with the right shin perpendicular. Okay, shoulder blades down the back, and then stretch your left arm up over your head and feel that big side body stretch here. Feel the anchoring of your right shoulder blade. Find your core a little bit. Press your shin down a little bit. How's the breath? Okay, and then we'll come back round onto all fours, neutral, maybe free up and shake that wrist if it got a little tender. Always these poses can be done with a fist on the ground or a forearm on the block instead of your hand. Let's spin our left shin perpendicular to our mat. Take your right leg straight and line up your left hand, your left knee, and your right foot. Vasisthasana. Knee down on the ground. Open through your chest. Keep that left shoulder blade grounding onto the ribs. Down away from the ears. When you feel ready, stretch that right arm over your head and feel that full length. Are you feeling very supported with that left arm on the ground? Notice where the support is coming from. And then come back around onto all fours and just rest in child's pose for a moment. Maybe take your arms down at your sides. Give a little wiggle in your pelvis. Give a little wiggle in your hands and your wrists. A little rocking, a little breathing. All right, then come on to your back. And we're going to come into a bridge pose. You can always use a block in between your legs or under your pelvis if you'd like. Otherwise, just a full active bridge pose. So ground through your feet. Feel the four corners of your feet, the rooting into the earth. We're going to lift up into a bridge, climb onto the tops of the shoulders. Keep your neck long without tension. Press your arms down into the ground. If you'd like interlacing, your hands underneath you, do that. If it makes you internally rotate your shoulders, don't do that. I like doing this pose with my palms up so that my upper arms stay nice and externally rotated, pressing the whole hand, the whole arm into the ground. Feel all corners of your feet. Neutral knees, try not to let them move outward. Find your breath. Engage your glutes. And then let's lower our pelvis down. Get your shoulders out from underneath you and windshield wiper your knees. Turn your head in opposition. So let this be about a cervical spine neck rotation as much as it is about knees moving from left to right. Find your breath. All right. We're going to come over onto our side. We're going to put a lot of these pieces together for Wild Things. So if you know that Wild Things not a good posture for you, you can choose a different back bend, maybe another bridge, or maybe Dhanurasana, bow pose, or just a simple cobra or something like that. If you're going to do this pose with me, make sure there's no blankets or things that you can slide on around because you're going to have to be blind in where your foot goes. So you want to make sure where your foot's going to land doesn't have anything you can slide on. We'll start in dog pose. Okay, then move this way a little bit. All right, so extending up into a dog pose, we're going to reach the right leg up in the air.
Stack it open like we often do and breathe into the waist. Root your left hand firmly onto the ground. Have a little faith. Tip back and bring your left foot down onto the ground, stretching your left arm overhead and tip back into one-armed back bend. Big breaths here. Okay. And then when you're ready, turn back around, lift that, bring your hands down onto the ground, lift that leg up. Let's rest for a moment. Shake out your wrists. Wrists are often a time that's a kind of a contraindication. If you have a lot of wrist trouble, this pose can be challenging. One of the challenging things about Wild Thing is trusting as you tip backwards that the ground is there for your foot to land on. So of course, if this pose is not good for your shoulder or your wrist or your back, choose a different option. Okay. Let's come into a dog pose again. Feeling that grounding. Full breaths here. This time, we'll stay anchored in the right foot on the ground and lift the left leg up. I'm sorry. Keep your left foot anchored into the ground. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm doing it opposite from my body, so I get confused with my left and right sometimes. Keep your right foot anchored, left leg lifting up. Stack open your left hip. Find that breath. And then when you're ready, bear more weight into your right hand. Start to reach that left foot back behind you. Let go of the left hand on the ground and tip backwards. Stretch into Wild Thing. Look at your hand. Upside down you are. How's the breath? Firm on that right shoulder blade on the back. And then we'll tip back around, three-legged dog, reach that foot up. Put the foot down, dog pose, and then we'll find a child's pose again. And relax your hips. Maybe your arms come down at your sides this time. Sometimes when I feel the efforting of my shoulder blades on my back, if you're in child's pose, you can place the backs of your hands on your low back and just let your elbows kind of fall toward the ground. Just finding some internal rotation of your shoulders. Let your back naturally neutralize and round just a little bit. And then release your arms if they were up. Let's find our way onto our back. We're going to do reverse pigeon. If you'd rather do pigeon pose, by all means, pigeon pose. You can put your right thigh over your left thigh and draw your knees in. You can put your right foot on your left knee and draw your knees in. You can be in pigeon pose. You can even do fire log pose. Just a pose that opens up your hips a little bit. Find your breath and settle your body. Release into this pose. We'll release our whole spine, but we're starting at the pelvis. How's your breath? Are you still feeling some gratitude for each pose we enter? What's the joy here? What's the bliss here? What's the goodness that your body and mind are receiving here? All right, and then when you feel ready, we'll change to the other side. What can you do to melt into this pose and relax your body just a little bit more? Let your breath bloom.
All right, put your feet onto the ground. Interlace your hands into a fist and reach your arms up toward the sky. And then we'll cross one arm over the other to give yourself a hug on either side of your shoulders. And then reach them, interlace your fists the weird way, stretch your hands up, and then take the other arm on top and cross to a hug again. While you're in this position, bring your knees in and tuck in. Release the hands, grab onto your knees, stay in that tucked ball. And then release your head down, arms out to the side, a twist. Shift hips over to the right, knees up, drop them left, and release your spine. A big breath here. Back to center, shift your hips the other way, drop your knees down, twist your spine open. All right, and then relax into Shavasana. If your back is still at all a little bothersome, try a sideline Shavasana. Sometimes, being a little more rounded in our spine and easeful can be very helpful. Or a bolster or something under your knees. So just always experiment with different ways of resting so that your body finds the comfort it's looking for. And let's remember Shavasana is a very important posture. So let's give way. Once your body kind of settles and you get all your pieces where you want them to be, see if you can drop and just practice this deep art of surrender. The breath in, the breath out.
When you're ready, let's begin to deepen breathing. Take your time, let your body melt one more time onto the ground. When you begin movement, begin it in small places, maybe your ankles and toes and wrists and fingers. Maybe you can turn your head from side to side, just gently inviting some movement back before you have a big stretch or big movement. Take a moment to round onto your side when you get there. Just breathe for a moment so that there's ease in your back. Breathe all the way through your spine. And then as you're ready to come to a comfortable seat, take your time to move. As you sit up straight and tall, let's again hold such gratitude for the ways that we can move, how we care for ourselves, and all the things that have streamed into you during your practice to be grateful for. Let's just hold so much spaciousness for all this gratitude. And then send that energy outward. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful day.